Hey folks, it's your boy Iceberg Bricks, and I'm back with my mayonnaise, BX Bricks. What's going on? Mel and Jermaine is in the house. Mel and Jermaine. Alright, so now we're talking episode 7, Lego Masters USA. We are here. We're more than halfway through, only a couple more shows left. And the competition is getting cutthroat, bro. They're going to the Storybook theme. So now your builders have to build a storybook theme. We didn't survive episode 6 with the bridge. So now you have Tyler and Amy, Richard and Flynn, Aaron and Christian, Boone and Mark. You have Sam and Jessica. Alright, so they come rolling out. There's kids. There's Will and kids. You know, they talking stories. They come up with this crazy, kid-like story, right? Where stuff just, as an adult, don't make sense, but to a kid, it makes perfect sense. Right. And so it gets messy, it gets confusing. I think this one is really, really, really tough. You really have to be on your toes on this challenge. What do you think?
Definitely. Like, this is pretty much the episode that captures the epitome of imagination. Like, there is no guidance with, what you're supposed to build. This is an example of what it should be. Mm-hmm. You're purely building off of what these kids are just imagining. Yeah. And then I have to judge you on that. That's insane.
You take a kid and you choke them because they're driving you crazy.
Bro, did you see that the kid towards the end when they were like at the end of the story, and then he's like, oh yeah, and they're covered in blood and da-da-da. And he's like, I like dark things.
Yeah, I saw that. That was like, oh, yeah.
Like, where are his parents at? Why are they not controlling this?
But that be the kid that would lead you astray. Like, they tell you some crazy stuff to build, and you're building it because that's what they told you to build. And you turn around, and then you...
But that's the thing. I don't even think that the contestants get a chance to listen to what the kids are saying. Mm-hmm. They're just going based off of this book. Mm-hmm. The words are filled in. They don't know what the kids are really looking for or what they're expressing excitement about.
But I think Will was smart enough to leave that out. Because, that wouldn't fly. That just don't make good TV. When you start talking, you get a little dark.
I mean, they let the kid get dark, but I think that they should have, at least had to where the contestants were watching and be like, oh, okay, so I could put a little bit of this or that in there, versus just going off of words.
I think the darkest I've ever seen a child get was Child's Play with Chucky. I think that was it. I think that was
Please don't mention that. Like, I've had nightmares for months after watching that when that movie came out.
Oh, man. Then it made a Child's Play 2.
They'd hold several things off and on, and then they try to reinvent it where it's like Alexa enabled now. Nah, stop it.
Oh man, so they get into it, right? They come up with this crazy story. What was the story? It was the cuckoo magic, right?
In the land of cuckoo magic,
right?
And then I believe that there was definitely a horse that did gymnastics along with another animal, right?
Right, it was a book chicken, right?
The chicken book. The book chicken, yeah.
Yeah. And then you had the Tinker Winker.
No, the Taker Waker.
Taker Waker. I'm sorry.
It was eating the toys.
Right.
Right.
So, here's something that, to me, it sounds like another mashup. Right?
Oh.
And maybe, I don't know, in the mashup, things get mashed up and people build some of the same stuff, right?
Well, because you're being fed a very detailed, specific story.
Mm-hmm. And so, off the break, Tyler and Amy's going with these floating platforms. What do you think about the floating platforms, man?
I don't know where they're going with it. It seems like it's unnecessary because you don't really hear about that in the details of the story. Mm-hmm. But now I think they're just showing off. Because this doesn't make any. There's ladders connecting. They're creating like Super Mario World over there.
It's a real storybook story where stuff is floating, right? I think it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant. You know, at this time it's time to spike the ball, right? You know, it's time to spike it. Yeah. Tyler and Amy are spiking this ball. You know, they really are separating their themselves from the pack. They make these floating platforms with all these other things that telling the story on floating platforms. Now he did that for that movie mashup. He made a platform with that kitchen platform and stuff like that. He did that. He made the kitchen with the refrigerator.
Yeah, they elevated the entire kitchen.
They elevated the whole thing up. That is brilliant, bro. That is brilliant. I think that's brilliant. It's just, that's a real way to do 3D, like a 3D build. So you have you have Richard and Flynn. They have this conveyor belt house that's going on. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's brilliant because they're one of the only few teams still focused on movement right now. Right. And I can't lie. Once I saw them playing with those tracks, I'm like, those are my tracks. That's what I use in almost every build. And now they're not out anymore. But see, that's the thing. You're only seeing it for the first time with them. Now, those were the same tracks that were used in the waterfall in brick buildings that you never saw.
Yeah.
Those were the same tracks that had the nanny chase around the city that you never saw. But now they can show it on camera.
Of course, because it's not you.
Right. Well, of course.
So then you have, our bros Aaron and Christian. They decide to actually make the takeawaker's house, right? So they make this messy house, right? Because the takeawaker's taking all these toys, and so they actually focus on making the takeawaker's house with all these messy toys. And inside of the takeawaker's house, they pay homage to every fallen competitor by making a mini build of their builds. It was Crystal and Amy's Cyberpunk City. You had Legor. Yeah. You had the brothers Dreamland in there. Dreamland. And then you also had I want to say Little Timmy was in there too.
It was Timmy.
Yeah. And
so they brought him into the Takeawaker's house.
Yep, they brought him in Takeawaker's house. Takeawaker came and took all the toys, which was brilliant. That was brilliant. I think that was a brilliant way to go between them two. I think that they were right on the money for especially for a difficult challenge like that. I think it was real difficult because you had to be spot on and be used to like making storybook stories like Tyler and Amy. So Boone and Mark decided to do a rotating house that was actually laid out, like was sitting on top of a book, like that was open, right?
And that was brilliant.
I know, that was that, and I love that the water rolled right outside of the book, like so it looks like it looks 3D, right?
Yeah.
And
they're really bringing you into the land of the story.
Right. And Sam and Jessica, man. If I was a betting man, I would be betting against them, but man, I would lose a lot of money betting against Jessica and Sam. They brought it this challenge, man, and they decided to do a garbage can. So they did the takeawaker, and they started off with the rat, right? But Tyler and Amy are making a rat, and Amy comes over to talk about the rat, right? Because she's not trying to go through that again. And kudos to you, Amy and Tyler, because I think you were forced into a story that you wasn't trying to be forced into. And so yours truly and my man right there make an appearance in episode 7, and we're not even in episode 7, but we make an appearance about Babygate.
They love us, Mel. They don't want to let us go.
Yeah, they give us a homage pay. We got a double homage. So you got Legor. They paid homage to Legor, And they hit us up again about the baby gate, right? Because they don't want to have a second baby gate. So, and well said that Jessica looked over there and Tyler's building this awesome rat. This rat that you would go to the store and buy. This thing is awesome. And I get it too. I wouldn't want to compete against that rat. Just like the same thing, like we wouldn't want to compete against their baby because we know what type of builder that Tyler is. It just so happened that we both made babies, and we weren't copying off of them. If hey, you think we were copying off of them and trying to compete against baby to baby, okay, then whatever. I'll take credit for it. But we didn't do that on purpose at all. But I get where Jessica coming from. Look, we ain't trying to go toe to toe with somebody. We don't have to. We don't have to go toe to toe. And so they decided to back off from the actual rat. And they actually, I want to say they leaned towards a raccoon a little bit, but they changed the features of the creature. It still looked rat-like, but you can't tell because you can see the eyes and this creature that's inside this garbage can. And it looks so awesome and looks so animated.
Like, Sam and Jessica were definitely in their element with this challenge. And you get to see a little bit of that with the Mega City build when they did the beanstalk and then the fairy tales and stuff.
Right.
So that's their element. That's their lane. So they definitely got a chance to shine in this episode.
Right. Indeed, man. Indeed. And I'm kind of disappointed because you figured like now you got less teams, right? And that you would have more animation time. I figured that stuff would be animated. Like let me see the animated short clips. You see they done forgot about doing the animations, right?
Right. Like as soon as even with the bridge, they had a whole CGI background that made it look like San Francisco. But here, didn't see any animation.
And let me tell you, I'm gonna jump ahead, but that Tyler and Amy's carrot when they did the twist, that would have been a perfect animation. This takeawaker's garbage can would have been perfect animation. It's just missed opportunities, man. It's a lot of missed opportunities.
Definitely.
And that's just too many. That's just too many missed opportunities.
Well, I think what they did, they blew the animator's budget on this whole rolling Lego car that the comedian comes out in.
Yeah. So what do you think of
animation budget?
What do you think about? Let me tell you. Now this is Mel and Jermaine. All right. So get ready. This is Mel and Jermaine. So what do you think about being replaced by a comedic superstar?
Well, they need somebody to be able to carry the edginess of the comedy and weight that we brought to the show. So I mean, it's justifiably so that they tried, but I don't think that they really...
I don't think they hit the mark, dude. I don't think they hit the mark, yo. I think this show kind of fell flat on that.
Fact that Will was shaking in his boots the whole time about it.
Yeah. Because you know what, honestly, I'm going to tell you honestly, I could see like either her or maybe Terry Crews doing season 2, yo.
Ooh.
It's a possibility, yo. It is. It's a possibility. Fresh face,
That's true, and they might even try to justify it by having one of them do a voiceover in a future Lego movie.
Yeah. So it's a possibility, right? Because Terry Crews, he loves Lego. He get down with building. He do.
You could stick Terry Crews in a show about stamp collecting, and he's going to definitely...
he's going to get down with it. Yeah, he's going to get down with it. Yeah, he's going to get down with it. So they do. So they time is up. And they realize that, there's some blank pages in the storybook. Well, here comes the twist. Twist number 5.
I do not call that a twist.
It's not a twist. You're just adding stuff to the story, dude. It's no twist.
A certain theme, and then now you have to do a different theme to it. Like, there's something different. That's what a twist is.
That's what a twist is, right? But
an additional chapter isn't a twist, it's a stretch.
It's a stretch, but I guess I give it a little 50-50 because what they did do is that everybody's building the same story, right? We're building the same story, we're building the same character, so some of our stuff is going to look a little bit of the same, right? So
right.
I give you a kid and let him tell you some garbage, or let her, he or she tell you some garbage, whatever's on their mind. So now your build looks a little bit different now than everybody else's. So maybe that's the twist a little bit. And granted, those kids were savages. They were so funny. Those kids were so
adorable savages.
They were so funny, man. They had me in tears, man, because they were just coming off of stuff off the top of their head. Like, build a carrot monster with the monster broccoli coming from sky.
Sky and what was it? Disco.
Right. The disco evil horse doing gymnastics and.
There was horse, but there was like disco something. It was something else that was disco, like disco birds or disco chickens or something. They had to build, and that was insane. I don't know how much Red Bull they gave these kids backstage.
Man, it was gummy bears, man. It was Dr. Pepper and gummy bears, man. They had them jumped up on gummy bears, bro. That's all you got to give a kid. Man, so the builders were up to the challenge. They were up to the challenge of these. I would say short order. It's a short order that they were taking from the kids, right? And this was the twist. And so Tyler and Amy got the monster carrot and the floating monster broccolis as well, right? So man, your boy Tyler. Knocked that thing, man. He grand slammed that thing out of the park. You see that carrot, bro?
They showed it in 2 shots, but probably within a matter of like 5 minutes, and the whole thing was built. It was like the size of one of the small children that came out there and told them the story.
They've been premiering that build since day one, and I'm sitting here thinking like, man, who built that? And it never dawned on me, dude. It never dawned on me, and I'm thinking they got that from a previous show, right?
Yeah, because they spliced little parts of like the Australian.
Right, they mixed it up. Yeah.
Fill it up some. So I'm like, who built this carrot? Like
right.
I missed that episode.
Your boy Tyler, man.
Wow.
Your boy Tyler was in that kitchen just cooking that, stirring that thing up, man. He made that thing. He made it quick, bro. He made that thing quick. And that thing looked good, man. And then he made the broccoli, coming out of the sky and stuff like that, man. Tyler did his thing. Tyler and Amy, they did their thing, man. They squashed the competition on this round, man. I mean, you're not beating that carrot, bro. You just ain't beating that carrot.
What America doesn't know is that in Tyler and Amy's dressing room, he has a giant sack that has Pixar written across it, where he pulls all these characters out of, and just amazing polished characters. So it's like it's no matter what you build, Tyler and Amy have a better one inside the sack.
Put that dust on it, man. They come alive, dude. They come alive, bro. Like man, yeah, man. Yeah, I was taken back by that build. So then you have Richard and Flynn, who had the conveyor belt, and then the twist was that they had a weed monster and a spaceship. See, now this is where this stuff gets a little dicey, because you can put all these adjectives together, right? And it's just tough to follow through when you're putting these bricks together, man. Like it gets a little dicey. It is, and so it's like they're making this weed monster and a spaceship over top of this conveyor belt. That's just like and that was their short order. So how do you think they did on that twist with Richard and Flynn?
I mean, honestly, I wouldn't know the first thing to build when you're talking about a weed monster.
Yeah.
Now, I come from New York. A weed monster might be a completely different thing than what Richard and Flynn saw in their minds.
I mean, honestly, I would have probably, my angle, I would have probably thought maybe making an animated lawnmower with big eyes and a big mouth eating weeds or something like that,
Right,
maybe, but I'll probably be wrong, but.
I mean, to me, that sounds pretty logical, but they have, like, it seemed almost more like an earth monster, because, like, the ground raised up, and I love how the arms just flail out like that. Like, They executed it really dope, and I think that the thing that they don't really appreciate about Richard and Flynn's build is that they were trying to go about this in a whole different way with the whole pop-up theme.
Right.
Like they wanted it to be a pop-up book, and to me, a pop-up book is way more fun than just reading a story because there's things popping up at you and like, whoa, what was that? Like,
right.
And they brought that element of wonder into their build.
Okay.
I felt that was a little underappreciated.
Yeah, I do too. I do. But it is a competition. It's getting tough. It is because you're getting down to the final. You're probably a week or so away from the final. So Aaron and Christian had the messy house. At the short order, they got a dark evil horse that they had to put together. Now, to me, I think this is one of those things where it take it back to that movie mashup where you had one thing that had nothing to do with the other. And you kind of got to make a mesh. And so it's tough for Aaron and Christian to kind of get this thing going the way they wanted to go. But,
the judges were saying that it made it look a little too messy and almost took away from the important elements that they wanted to see in the story.
Mm-hmm.
But their scene was just a little too busy.
Mm-hmm.
That's like kind of like the gift and the curse of being a perfectionist, because it's like you're delivering on everything that they're saying, but you got to read in between the lines to see what that secret sauce is that they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
It was just more of how well can you build what the kids imagine, like through the eyes of the kid.
Right.
If they wanted that child's imagination with your abilities to build, and that's what they wanted to see produced.
Right. Okay. So then you have Boone and Mark, who had the rotating house, and now they're implementing a giant crab to pinch the nose of the takeover.
That was so silly, but executed well.
Very executed well. That joint came out from the side like that, and just it was perfect, man. It was perfect. I think it was perfect. And then of course they get slammed for the real estate that they had on their pallet, and the bill was so clean and everything like that. But then of course you get slammed for you wish you could have more houses. And it's like, and it's like, well, you should have told me that when you told me to put the crab in.
Right.
tell me that. Come on.
Could have learned from our example. Don't leave anything empty, man. Like, come on.
No, don't leave nothing empty, dude. Don't leave nothing empty. You get ostracized for it. Even by the people that leave buildings empty, they ridiculing you. Hey, what you doing? All right, so then Sam and Jess, they end up getting a elephant and a rainbow. And I think, honestly, their build was so strong that I think this elephant and rainbow just came easy to them. Like, this was just an easy add to whatever they had. It wasn't difficult at all. Like, if you take a look at Richard and Flynn's, I think that was difficult for them to incorporate. Aaron and Christian, that was definitely difficult for them to incorporate in that build. But this right here, I think this elephant and rainbow, I think they kind of got off a little bit easy with that. But because their build was already strong, so I think they kind of got off easy. I think this was just easy street. This was just like icing on the cake for Sam and Jess.
Yeah, like I said, they were in their element. They didn't break sweat not once. I mean, at least from what we could tell in the episode. Maybe behind the cameras they struggled. Who knows? But I feel like they were completely in their element, and they said, you could throw anything at us. Boom, it's done.
Right, and then no bickering, no arguing. All that's behind them, and they're full steam ahead. Yeah, they're full steam ahead, and kudos to them. So, your top two was Tyler and Amy, and it was Sam and Jess, right?
Yeah, that's amazing to see Sam and Jess in the top. Well, they were in the top two before with the mermaid.
With the mermaid, yep, they were.
Yeah,
but they were also in the bottom two like 3 times.
Yeah, that's it.
And then your bottom two for this one is Aaron and Christian and Richard and Flynn.
Oh.
Who I know, who was picked. I know who was picked. Who would you pick to go home based on this challenge, not the body of work? This challenge.
It's difficult, man, because it's like it's us. And it's like, I see what the judges are saying about each build. Mm-hmm. You know, I love the pop-up theme, but then it's like they built everything in plates, so I get it. You want more oomph out of the elements that they added. Mm-hmm. And then with Aaron and Christian, it's like they clearly struggled with the challenge overall. Mm-hmm. But then they built a little baby Legor, so I can't put them in the bottom two. I don't know who to pick.
Your judgment's clouded. Never mind.
And it is. I can't. It's difficult, man. It's like with heavy things.
Honestly, I think that was probably one of the most toughest decisions for them to make, for the judges, for Amy and Jamie to make. I think that was a tough one. And you know what? Honestly, I think they probably went back and forth on it. You know.
Oh yeah.
You know, honestly, I think they went back and forth on it a few times, man. I think that was a very tough decision to make.
Yeah, it had to be, man. I mean, because you can see their faces every time they have to deliberate that it gets tougher because, you know, like some of the judgment, it's actually part of them. Like they love seeing people grow,
right?
And, you know, attack the challenges head on and get as far as they do. So it's like you want to say keep going, but it's your job to say, all right, which one of these guys have to go home?
Right. Yeah. I can definitely see that. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's tough, man. I couldn't even answer that, man. I couldn't answer that at all, man. And I think that, like I was talking to you earlier, you know, if we were in this round, bro, I'd be shell shocked because I wouldn't know which direction to go first. Because this challenge here was just, man, it was tough, man. How do you build, and not only just build to order, but you know, you build that carrot monster, bro.
Yeah, that would have been the part where I'm like, all right, you know what? Here's my bricks. I'm going home. I don't feel like I have a problem with being able to create out of imagination and make it look good. Mm-hmm. I could probably be in my element with that, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, to some degree, it's not going to be nearly as polished as Tower and Amy's stuff. And it was like, all right, well, we could go kind of, you know, we could be in a top three with them. But once they whip out the giant carrot, it's like, come on, guy.
Yeah,
like,
man. He flexed his muscle, man. He did, man. He flexed it, man. And kudos to them, man.
Kind of skinny
guy. That day, you know.
Muscles, then, I mean.
That day, the better builder won, man. Like, you know, that day the better builder won. Not to say that anybody else isn't better or anything like that, but the better builder that day won. And you know, you see why. You know, that carrot monster was clean. You know, and it demanded its presence. That thing sat over top of everything.
Everything. Like as soon as you get onto that set, I'm pretty sure the first thing your eyes are drawn to is this giant carrot monster.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure that thing is sitting in somebody's living room right now because I know they didn't junk it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Probably with a hat on its head or something. Like it's part of the family now. Mm-hmm. What if they let Tower and Amy keep it? Imagine that. Mm-hmm. Now, outside of us just recapping the episode, which was a fantastic episode, I just want America to know that it's a really surreal feeling watching the episode that you're not in because you get to appreciate it just as much as you guys are appreciating it. Because with the other episodes, we know what's happening, but we don't know how they're going to edit it. Right. So we're surprised.
Yeah.
We're completely in the backseat wondering where are they going to take this thing.
You know, honestly, I felt that way until they started talking about Babygate and we appeared on episode 7 without being in episode 7. So maybe next week in episode 8 where we won't be there, hopefully they have no, you know, backstories or like, you know, hey, remember when... And they do the, you know, the gray scene and they play the villain music and they show us. Yeah, right. So
I wouldn't be surprised if we're in that. So why not?
All right, folks. That is episode 7. Yours truly and the guy to my right is not on that. Well, yeah, we are on that episode. We are.
even if we're not, our legacy is.
Oh, we on that episode. We wasn't on it. I never seen that.
Now, let me ask you a question. Did you get a stipend for that? Because I didn't get a stipend.
I didn't get a stipend, man. You know what? We need to get a stipend because we made an appearance. We did.
They're gonna toss me a Burger King coupon for it or something.
You at least get a half a stipend, right? You get a half a check. You get a half a check for that because you made an appearance, right?
Yeah, they use this beautiful face on camera doing this thing. Like, come on, like we added that little extra spice to that episode.
That's funny. So hopefully we won't make any more. What they call those, like memory lanes, memory lane segments or clips, memory lane clips.
Plays or flashbacks or something.
Mirages. So hopefully we won't make any more mirages.
Yeah.
Hopefully. All right, folks. We'll catch you after episode 8. You can check back here, Iceberg Bricks YouTube channel. Where can they find you, BX?
Check me out on BX Bricks on YouTube and everything social media. Come on.
Yeah. All right, we'll catch ya.
Peace.